run through the tape. In life, never give up, run through the tape.
After an all-star intermission, the second act of the NBA season is ready to play out. The often overlooked Mavericks are longing for the spotlight once again. They hope introducing a new character to their veteran cast will lead them back to top billing.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions.
With two leading men, Oklahoma City is making noise after leaving the All-Star break to thunderous applause.
There can only be one MVP. Russell Westbrook.
Meanwhile, the Spurs' steady ensemble cast remains the envy of their peers. Their backstory of championships provides invaluable experience for another stretch run. Los Angeles is a team built for prime time, but after losing their shining star, the Clippers must rewrite the script. Only part of the story has been written. The second act begins next on TNT. The NBA goes back to work after the All-Star break, and so do we. Time for TNT NBA Tip-Off, presented by Autotrader.com. The Mavs and Thunder, followed by the Spurs and the Clippers. Good doubleheader. And it's trade deadline day. Studio J in Atlanta. Ernie Johnson, Shaq's here. Charles is here. Kenny is sick. He won't be here. But we have an all-star replacement.
Wait, he didn't get fired?
Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors.
I thought he got traded.
An all-star for the first time in your career, in your 9th year, and you come up with this. And you come up with this.
You know what? That's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So, throw it down on Melo.
No, people have
Well, we can take that two ways. He is Carmelo Anthony. He's only got one leg. You can't brag about dunking on a guy with one leg.
But still, I got up there.
People had said it was. Your last dunk was 2009. Somebody else said it was 8. Somebody else says it was 06. When was the last time you dunked?
All-Star Sunday.
No, before that was
2009.
2009.
Got a two-hand dunk, a little throw-through in Miami.
You know, Kyle, I have a little advantage.
He remembered the team. You hear that?
You don't got that many dunks. You got to.
Yeah. You know, I have a little advantage knowing more about you because my daughter went to Villanova, and I've been watching for a long time. How special was All-Star Weekend?
It was so special. And the fact that it was in New York and my family could come up and spend the whole weekend with me, and for it to be my first time and being voted in by the fans, it was like a dream come true.
Well, this has been a crazy day at the trade deadline. In the neighborhood of 40 players changing teams. And I guess Oklahoma City's a team we'll see tonight. And Chuck, look what they did. Totally revamped their bench.
Yeah, but not just their bench. Their starting lineup also. Because let me tell you something. I'm a big Enes Kanter fan. I've been watching him.
You think he starts over Adams?
Yeah, I would start.
When Adams comes back?
I think I would start him. Well, first of all, they got Mitch McGary also.
Yep.
The only thing OKC has been missing was an inside presence. And even with what's his name out, this is the best offensive player. Adams is a good player, and I love Adams, but this guy is an offensive juggernaut. He's not a great defender or a great rebounder, but he's terrific offensively. So I would go with him, because that was the only thing that OKC was missing. Great job by those guys. Sam Presti, great job.
Juggernaut may be a little bit of an overstatement.
No, but they don't need a. You got to understand something, Ernie. To go with Russell Westbrook and KD to get any low.
Oh no, you've been saying that for years, and believe me, give them a low post presence.
That's all. Now,
You know what, Ernie? My only worry about OKC, yes, they do have a guy with inside presence, but KD and Westbrook, they're not used to coming down, throwing to a guy in the post.
They don't have to do it that
around.
often, Shaq. He's not you.
I'm not, Chuck, I'm not saying he's trying to be me. You're the one saying they need an inside presence. Inside presence means you get the ball and you score. Are they going to be used to coming down, throwing the guy the ball, letting them go to work? We shall see.
Well, I think the point I want to make is, listen, first of all, if you got KD and Russell Westbrook, okay, that's pretty damn impressive. But every now and then you need an easy basket. He's going to get you a layup, a dunk, or a foul. You need that sometime, because as great as Westbrook and Durant are, they take tough shots. You need an easy basket sometime. And first of all, I think he's going to do a good job on the boards, too, because he's going to get to play one-on-one, because you can't guard these guys. Your defense has to spread out, and play these guys.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just asking the question. Are they going to be used to coming
Go
down?
ahead, Kyle.
Just barge your way in.
That's the way it works around here.
I see. Yeah. I think you leave them coming off the bench. Is when you take one, either KD or Russell off the floor, you need another inside. You need the inside presence then. Not when both those guys on the floor, you don't need it. But when you take KD or Russell off the floor, you give somebody to get an offensive basket.
Hi, the Phoenix Suns are also very busy, and this is a team. Goran Dragic had said publicly he doesn't trust him anymore. He wanted to be dealt. Miami was one of the teams, and so they obliged. In fact, sent him and his brother both to Miami. They do pick up Brandon Knight. So is it sunrise, Charles, or sunset with this deal?
Well, let me tell you something.
It sounds like sunset.
I just need a little flute. It's over for my son.
That was a violin you was playing.
Well, he was off camera when he did it.
Yeah.
I just need a little.
Oh, yeah, I just need a little flute. That's a violin, big dummy.
I'm not musical.
Obviously.
Ernie, to be honest with you, they're in the exact same situation. They screwed up their team this summer bringing in Isaiah Thomas because they knew, like, okay, Bledsoe's a good player. I've got to pay Dragic at the end of this season. Then they bring in Isaiah Thomas. They draft a point guard. They screwed this entire thing up. And I like Brandon Knight. He's a good player, but he's just like Dragic and Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. So now you still got a bunch of little leprechauns, little guys out there playing. They just really screwed up. Listen, there were two big winners today. Well, first of all, I don't want to sleep on Portland because I love them getting Aaron Apollo.
Yeah, that was a
great pickup.
Because their bench needs that.
Yes, but the two big winners today, no matter what anybody knows anything about basketball, the two big winners today were Oklahoma City and the Miami Heat.
Now, this makes your life interesting on the Eastern Conference side because, conceivably, it could be you and Miami in the first round of the playoffs.
Right. I think Goran definitely helps Miami. It takes a load off of Chris Bosh, and then, when D-Wade's playing, you got a little bit of a transition guy now. Now we got to go out there. We got to focus in on a point guard who's driving the basket, pushing in transition. You got D-Wade running the wing. You got shooters on the wing. You got Chris Bosh inside. I think Miami definitely got to steal with this one.
Yeah. So when you prepare to play Phoenix and now Miami, what do you prepare for in terms of Dragic?
Well, you got to load back. Now you got more eyes on the point guard. Usually you got to prepare for D-Wade and Chris Bosh, but now you got a guy who's pushing the 94 feet, getting to the basket, getting layups, getting free throws.
Another thing that changes the landscape in terms of your possible playoff opponents, now you got Michael Carter-Williams in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They ship Brandon Knight, and now you got Michael Carter-Williams, the reigning Rookie of the Year.
Well, now he's in a situation where he's on a winning team. So now let's see how his game transferred to a winning team in a playoff situation to see if they keep going and building.
But the difference in Ernie is Milwaukee's not going to win the championship. Miami is a legit contender to win the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to compare them to the West, but they went from a team that was irrelevant. They're in the conversations with the best
Really?
team. Oh, yeah.
With Chicago and Cleveland, Miami's in that class now in your mind?
They added an all-star point guard. That was the one thing they were missing. They did. They got a lot better today, the Miami Heat did. I do. Are they as good as Cleveland, Toronto, Washington, Chicago,
Atlanta?
They're in the conversation. Yes, they are.
Are you that sold? That one move to get
I would have to agree with Chuck. I played with Goran Dragic. He's a fabulous point guard. And what this does for Miami, it gives them the ability to get back to running. The point guards, I had no disrespect to them. They weren't really running point guards. One was more of a shooter. One, I didn't know what he did. But Goran Dragic can penetrate, dish. He can start the fast break. He's a great passer. What he does the best, he loves getting people involved. So, with D-Wade coming off the injuries, a.k.a. resting, second season, going to playoffs.
And Ernie, let me just say this one thing. I know they're telling us to go to break, but I think the one thing that people who don't know anything about basketball, that's called the fans, when you are a good player and you play with other good players, it makes it a lot better.
Hey, by the way, Kevin Garnett back in Minnesota now. JaVale McGee now in Philadelphia. Among the moves today. And this was, you were off camera at the time, but here you are. Somebody needs to give me a flute. Yeah. Not many great flautists have played it quite that way.
I'm not musical, Ernie.
Back with
We
more
know.
in just a second. Great to have you with us, guys.